Sportskeeda, now, whenever you're listening to it, all media is in a non-linear presentation. What's going on, everybody? It is Sportskeeda Wrestling live on a Monday on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel or on demand whenever you are getting it. Also on the podcast feed. Thank you guys so much for listening there as well, keeping us in the charts across the world. I'm Kev Callum, Nick Harkson over there in Smackdown, Sacramento, California. If you're with us live, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and jump into the conversation. You guys will get on screen. If you watch the whole show, you get on screen multiple times. I have no problem saying that. If you're with us over on the Facebook pages of Sportskeeda Wrestling, thank you so much. I know a lot of you guys have followed me there for years. I really appreciate that. All right, so thank you guys for jumping in there. A lot to cover today. We will talk about that crazy thing that Tony Khan said on Friday with the big NFL draft and how he's kayfabing people and all the controversy and scandal and speculation about him. What the speculation we're talking about, where the hell is WrestleMania 41 going to be? There's a lot of debate about this, and some of that is kind of changing. And then Drew McIntyre, he's staying with WWE. A lot to get into. So slam the like button if you're with us. Like, if we get, let me put this to, if we get a significant amount of interactions, likes, and different stuff like that, we'll do a big Q&A at the end of the show. How about that? And we'll get a bunch of your stuff on screen. We'll do even more interactions. So you guys know all the drills. I know everyone who does content for you online says this stuff, but it's important. You like it, you share it. So Lynn Chenelin saying, hey, what's up? Go ahead and get your comments on screen. Let's get right into it. Nick, how you feeling about the NFL draft and everything going on there with your Lions? They doing okay? My Bears did well. My Bears pissed off people with a new stadium plan, but I think they made people happy with what's going on here.
Yeah, I think the Lions did well. We added some key pieces that we needed to an already stacked roster, so I'm feeling good.
Drew McIntyre is sticking with WWE here, but the WWE draft started on started on Friday. It'll continue today, and then we'll kind of see what happens with NXT. So this will be all three brands are involved on it. Carmelo Hayes got the big call up here, but there wasn't too many exciting things. I know a lot of people got really PO'd when they said, oh, the person's already on Raw. They're not moving, so why even tell me about it? And that's how drafts legitimately work. Right. This is technically how a legitimate draft would work. You would retain people and you wouldn't, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. But at the same time, you know, a lot of people get hyped up for the draft and then it happens and I see some people not happy about it.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. I get where you're saying you have to retain people. I mean, you want to bring your stars back. You want to protect them, you know, and protect your brand. But yeah, I'm liking how they already brought some people up from NXT and whatnot. Kiana James getting the call up as well. And that was kind of a surprising one. But yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with it on Raw tonight. I think that SmackDown maybe had the stronger draft on night one if you.
Oh my God, are you saying the SmackDown on SmackDown said that they had an exciting draft? It's almost like tonight on Raw. Raw will have an exciting draft.
That's what I'm getting at. But yeah, for sure.
Part of me thinks that I know this is crazy because it wouldn't be great for television, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have to have the strong draft.
A streaming event. If this was just like a Peacock exclusive thing, and like maybe you saw a couple of drafts on SmackDown and a couple on Monday Night Raw, and then hey, on Wednesday after NXT's done, we're gonna do the real final draft. This is the final like call for I don't know, but then that would be an inverse. No, you start the draft with the hottest names, and you know they went with Bianca Belair as the number one draft pick. Gives her something big. She didn't have a huge role at WrestleMania. This is the first time I ever felt like she wasn't like a top tier star at WrestleMania, and I think they tried to reassociate that. People asking who else is excited about the AEW Civil War. We will talk about that. We will talk about a bunch of different things with AEW today because they certainly had a lot of big news here. But it teased it right here. The talk of Drew McIntyre for almost a year now, over a year, was he going to stay with WWE? Now there was talk sometime after last year's WrestleMania in LA as WWE went through the merger and everything with Vince McMahon exiting and all this different stuff that McIntyre felt like as a talent that the talent relations was not communicating with him a whole ton about his future in the company. And then the head of talent relations suddenly was gone. So that recently happened. And so that was a shakeup. But Drew McIntyre reportedly signing a big multi-year deal for much more money, reportedly from many different sources. And it says that WWE and Drew were working on this deal, his representatives, and he signed a deal. This was made official by The Rock on social media, which is a real endorsement. And The Rock had a sword, a custom-made sword, delivered to him while he was enjoying probably a fine meal. But you gotta feel cool when The Rock has a sword delivered to you, right?
Yeah, I mean that's like top notch right there. When you get a sword from The Rock, you know your deal's good. You know you're good with the company, and yeah, you're in good hands moving forward. But I'm glad that Drew got the deal done. It's a 3-year deal. We're gonna see him around in WWE for a little bit, and it's well deserved. I thought that, I would have liked to see Drew McIntyre have held on to the world championship after he beat Seth Rollins for a little bit longer than he did.
Well, he had for like a few minutes, right?
Yeah. But I think it's all going to lead up to a big payoff for him here in the near future.
Well, I mean, I want to know from the people listening. I want to hear your take. Did Drew make the right call staying with WWE? Obviously, he would have hit the open market. There was a lot of people saying that, if you could get him, WrestleMania 39, if he's done, and there was some talk of a rollover contract. So some people thought his deal was up then, and he had a lot of injury time. He took a lot of time off, so that rolls your deal over a little bit, right? And so you had that, and some people think, he'll jump over All Elite Wrestling, big competitor. If they don't have as much money, they're going to offer him fair money with less dates, right? So some people kind of take that deal though too. So it's interesting how this plays out. I want to know what you guys are thinking here, because WWE has a big show coming up in Scotland, and I would be very remiss to think that Drew McIntyre is not going to have a huge role on that show, and that show is going to be playing in front of tens of thousands of people. He got a huge reaction in Wales the last time they were in the UK. WWE doing some more and more bigger things in Europe, and I think having European talent in key roles for an international expansion, it makes a lot of sense when you step away. Now, obviously, these are just short-term things. We have one big stadium show. Well, what about the week-to-week thing? Drew's still over. Everywhere he goes, he's a very conniving, righteous heel. Stephen Chambers says, Drew getting the title in Scotland, Punk going to beat Drew at SummerSlam. Well, that's kind of lays it out. They're doing a whole lot here with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. CM Punk is available for the draft, I understand. I expect if Drew gets drafted, or CM Punk gets drafted before Drew, that's a chef's kiss just to keep this thing going, right?
Oh yeah, and I hope that they go that way. I would like to see CM Punk drafted to Raw tonight. I think that's the right brand for him. But yeah, just to keep the whole storyline going, it's he's got the upper hand on Drew with that story as well. So
another thing with the draft is like, you have the TV contracts. This is like the draft. This is the way the rosters are going to look when Raw goes to Netflix.
Yeah.
And when SmackDown makes the leap from Fox to USA Network. So, I mean, you're going to have a lot there. There's a lot going on here with WWE. And we're seeing some of it now. But I wonder, like, is SmackDown going to change nights? Is Raw going to change nights? That isn't stuff we know right now. And the rosters are kind of like a part of that here. I want to hear from more people here. Robert Dinkins, always on our shows, waving the flag of AEW. We will talk about the thing that Tony Khan said in the debate about why he said it, and things that Tony Khan, the president of AEW, did last week. We'll get into those things. Here we go. Jesse Hyde, always supporting the show. I can see Damage Control being split up. Kyrie saying Io Sky, Asuka staying on SmackDown, Dakota Kai moving over to Raw in a shock move because of rumors of WWE in the Marigold partnership. Now, Marigold is the new female-fronted Joshi promotion ran by Rossy Ogawa in Japan, kind of splintering off from New Japan. So, yeah, they have some, this is a different WWE. So, for sure.
Yes,
here we go. Staying on Drew. I know we're jumping around from topic to topic here, guys. We're live, and you guys are kind of running in here. Drew is a good signing. He can do anything inside and outside of the ring. Triple H won't let him go. Why would you? I mean, you got to keep him, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great signing for Drew and the company, just all around. You got to keep a talent like that. He, like I said earlier, well deserved. Did you disclose did they release how much he's making per year?
No, but reportedly the figures are very good for him.
Okay.
And I think if this is a sign of what they can give Drew, then you have other big names whose deals are up. Somebody asked earlier, did Becky resign? No, she is not. As far as we know, she has not signed a new deal. Her and Seth Rollins, both their deals are up around the same time. My assumption is they stay with WWE at this point. Now, that could change. If there's a negotiation window where Tony Khan or somebody else can get involved, if it's something where maybe they just want to go try Hollywood or be outside of wrestling for a little while, specifically with Becky Lynch, I think that's a possibility here. So we'll talk about that. Want to get into it. Some people saying I have to get Netflix as soon as possible. You wait until January, but you know. So there's that here. People saying, what are my thoughts, Benjamin Kimball? What are my thoughts on night one and where there are the changes besides Nia Jax? I would want to get your take on that, Nick. Like I said, I thought it was fine. I just think these draft shows, they're okay, but they're not. They're light on wrestling and they're more of a presentation. They're fun to watch from a TV point. But I was talking to Rick Ochino, or at least rather listening to Rick Ochino on Smack Talk with Dutch Mantel over on our Wrestling Bench channel. He said it was fine. But it's not earth moving or anything like that.
Right. I think it's fun. It's during the same week and weekend as the NFL draft, so everything ties in together there. But yeah, like you said, it's just kind of more, just a little fun thing. It's not it doesn't move the needle or anything. But I did like how they had Braun Breaker come out on SmackDown and just annihilate Cedric Benson, and then they drafted him to Raw right after the match. So it was I did like that little turn, but other than that,
try and shake some stuff up. Try and keep it up there. If you guys are just joining us, go ahead and fire off your comments. Let us know what you guys think, and you get your comments on screen here. What are the WWE going to be doing for 3 months? Oh, this is an interesting question too. Should I save this question until later? I think I have an idea of what that's going to be. So this is what's going to happen with Monday Night Raw, because their TV deal is up in October, right? With Monday Night Raw, and they don't go to Netflix until January. So I do have some ideas for what will happen. Doesn't mean I have the answer for what is actually going to happen. Remind me, Nick, to get to that. I want to tease people. I want to tease them. Don't worry, I'm going to please them. And then maybe you think my idea is really silly. While we're talking about streaming here with WWE, Stephen Chambers bringing this up. Boo, Peacock is going to raise their prices. I can tell you what those prices are actually going to be. NBC Universal Peacock, that is the streaming home of WWE content, including the on-demand library specials and premium live events, most importantly. We get the live pay-per-views, the PLEs, as they call them. Mid-July, they're going to raise the stock price. Peacock Premium with ads will go to $8. That's a $2 price increase. The premium tier that is mostly ad-free, that will go up to from $12 to $14 monthly. And then, of course, your prices will go up if you're doing the annual plan as well. The prices take effect July 18th for new subscribers. For existing subscribers, though, these won't go into effect until August 17th. So still likely going to affect you with a handful of big WWE events over the summer. This is a part of an attempt to make Peacock profitable, as they shut down the free tiers that they had tied to like cable plans. And a lot of people got it through their cable provider and different stuff like that too. But some people still get this through their cable provider, I'm told.
Right.
So a lot there, but WWE's deal with Peacock, though, expires in 2026. It's worth noting to fans outside of the United States and North America. You will get a lot of WWE content, including the premium live events, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, etc. You'll get those through Netflix and their live streaming there. So, I mean, this is WWE, very similar to NFL. They have a media deal here and a media deal there. I don't think that's too drastic of a. I know what Netflix one time did, like one that was like $5 a month. They like went up or something like that.
Yeah.
Or if you wanted a HD, you had to pay more. I remember thinking like, I was like, oh, that's you're pushing it there. But I mean, hey, it's a business. It's a business.
Very true. They could be ESPN Plus and not have regular ESPN on there, which is crazy.
you have to pay for ESPN Plus to pay for a pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's
that almost happened, by the way. WWE almost went with ESPN. You would have been paying $60 for $10 a month plus whatever to get WrestleMania or something like that.
Man,
so there we go. We're gonna get into that thing that Tony Khan said. We're going to get into that ridiculous idea I have for what may or may not happen with WWE in the late fall, early winter. But let's talk about this. This is another story involving WWE. Money, 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 money. It's all about that money. It's about that sweet cheddar, that green. Don't chillax. What are you going to tax? I think is more the case here, because WrestleMania is a moneymaker.
Oh, yeah.
Huge money-making event. I know the numbers it can make is equivalent to like a Lollapalooza. I know in Chicago, Lollapalooza makes around $200 million a year in taxable revenue. It's a lot of money for the host cities that get these. And we heard Minneapolis. But the last week, things change because the Undertaker kind of let it slip. Oh, I just heard it's going to be in Las Vegas. so now somebody would certainly know. So I recorded a debate with Mona for our Instagram channel about this. I'm in Chicago. I wanted Minneapolis because I'm selfish.
Close.
And I can get on a train in Minneapolis in about 5 hours. And I don't even have to drive there. I can get on a train. I could fly there, obviously. But I could get on like a $40 a ride train and just go back and forth. Not going to happen if it's in Vegas, but I know a lot of people want it in Vegas just because you get to gamble, you get to go to all those other shows, and it's probably more attractive to the male demographic, the 20, 30 somethings. What do you think? Minnesota, as I'm burping, or Vegas?
I mean, me personally, Vegas is closer to me. I can drive there.
I knew you were going to do the West Coast.
So
you can drive there, right?
I could drive there.
How long of a drive is it for you to Sacramento there?
I believe it's around 7.5 hours, 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah. So you're like screw Minnesota. I'm not going to Minnesota.
I mean, I do have a lot of friends in Minnesota though, and I haven't seen them in a while. So it would be nice to visit, but at the same time, driving to WrestleMania, and it's a little bit more convenient for me.
I know this is weird for some people to say if you're of a certain age. I've told people this, like I'm my age, I've never been to Vegas, and people are like, "What? You've never been to Vegas? You got to go to Vegas. Everyone has to go to Vegas."
Yeah.
Other people saying it's a money deal. People saying Minnesota, so Brock can have one last match. Well, yeah, he did wrestle with the University of Minnesota, so he was a big star there.
True.
Interesting.
Wouldn't mind it either way. I know that the stadium in Minnesota, I think it's where they're going to host it. If they're going to have it there, it's going to be where the Vikings play, right? And
yes,
yeah, I've heard
the new stadium that they built there recently.
Yeah, so I heard it's amazing. I heard it's great.
Yeah. And a lot of the specs of that stadium are what they think the Chicago Bears stadium, if it gets built, which is very, very 50-50. I would probably 60-40, 60 no, 40 maybe about that. But the possibility of something like that is pretty clear. I mean, both cities have the stadium.
Yeah.
Another factor is, you had Nick Khan go on the record about this, that the company does not want the weekend not to be owned by them in the terms of the way that people watch the show. And they went up against Final Four basketball, and they think that affected some of their viewership. And there was talk of them moving WrestleMania not into that late March window. Some people thought, they would go mid-March. So you'd be right out of January. You go right into WrestleMania. You'd be at WrestleMania in less than 2 months. Meltzer, most recent observer, he has some insight in here. He said the possibilities of them moving it to the first weekend of May. So WrestleMania would start with the WrestleMania season would be Royal Rumble, end of January. Then you'd have February, March, all of April, and then you're at WrestleMania. That's 12 weeks between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. And the reason was because they would want to own a weekend. They want to get away from opening day baseball. They would want to get away from all these different things and have a weekend where it's only their weekend. Yeah, which I get the logic of that, but that's 12 weeks of TV. You'd have some storyline that burns out at week 8 in that run, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they would have to switch probably Backlash and WrestleMania. I mean, you would have to do something there.
Well, that's another thing is wouldn't you have at least 1 or 2 pay-per-views in between that? You have they're going to do the Elimination Chamber then. But then I look at the other side of the coin. I was like, well, it kind of does make sense. It does make logical sense in the idea of especially if you go to Vegas. You go to Vegas in May, that becomes attractive, you do Vegas in Minnesota in May. That's way different than doing it in early April. I can tell you the Midwest, the weather, the weather's crazy. It's going to be 75 degrees in a couple days here in Chicago. It was 40 degrees a week ago. You know what I mean? It's like, we call it swinter, we're between the winter and the spring,
Yep.
So a lot of people here. Hello, brotherly love from Bangladesh. How you doing there, MD? I love it here. People saying Vegas is perfect. The draw of the city alone is amazing. I agree. And you could do stuff with the sphere, the giant LED. You could, even if they don't do a match in there, you could film some stuff in there. It'd look cool. It
would be really cool. Yeah.
How you doing, Bel Air? Hello, it's been a while. Did Drew get a big fat contract? You damn right
yeah.
he did. 3 years, not a 5-year deal. They signed a lot of people for 5-year deals. So this is an interesting one. This will also keep him with WWE up until the 10-year anniversary of him returning to the company, by the way. Someone noted that to me, which is really cool. Other people saying Las Vegas for WrestleMania 41 doesn't tax companies like other places. Yeah, it's been a haven for taxes. You want to really save some money on taxes? You ever heard this, like, where people incorporate in Delaware like crazy because there isn't that much going on in Delaware? They kind of have like these tax loopholes. And so there's a bunch of companies that are incorporated in Delaware. They just have an office and that's it,
Yeah, I actually never heard of that.
What's going to happen to Jack Perry? We'll talk about him in a minute. Don't worry. We will touch on that thing that Tony Khan said. I want to get to more of your comments here. You want to touch on this one? This one's interesting. You see this? Read this one.
It says, did you guys hear Kenny Omega acknowledging
Kenny Omega? That's somebody I went to high school with.
Kenny Omega. All right. Kenny Omega acknowledging Roman Reigns.
Kenny Comerica Park. you got Detroit on the mind, dude. You have Detroit on the brain. You're in California. You have Detroit on the brain. You were stuck in a Comerica. Well, we didn't even touch on baseball.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's where my mind is wandering right now. But will we see Kenny in WWE? There's a good I don't know.
So, do you know this conversation? So Kenny Omega is going to be on this week's AEW Dynamite in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Go Jets, by the way. Rooting for the Jets in the playoffs this year. NHL.
Nice.
Want a Canadian team. But reel in my ADD, Kevin. He doing the Twitch streams. Now that he's out with diverticulitis, there's some talk that he's going to go get that surgery. And if you get that surgery, you're really on the shelf for a much longer period of time. And someone brought up different matches, and he's playing video games. He's like, yeah, I'll talk to people, whatever. And he's just like, he was shooting off the hip. He was saying stuff like he doesn't want to be an EVP, he just wants to wrestle, and alluding to different things in the fight backstage with Punk and everything. It was crazy. And in one, he acknowledged he loves the way that Roman Reigns is presented in WWE. He acknowledged that. Everyone acknowledged that. And he says that he talked about how he was sort of presented a similar way that he was in New Japan, there, like that he could remember as a performer. Now, people will just read a quote pulled from someone in a Twitch stream with no sense of the tone, no sense of the context of the actual question that's asked them, and just take the quote and reframe it to whatever tribalistic context. And also, there's so many people, you guys have to do this. Stop just reading headlines and actually read the articles. A lot of you are doing this, and you have to get called out on this. If you think you have a hot take, but you won't spend 3 minutes actually reading the articles and getting the details and listening to the context in which something is said. So I saw the clip of what he said, and it made a lot more sense. And he was just, I like the way he's presented. As a performer who played similar roles, I like the way he was presented. Now, do you think we'll see Kenny Omega in WWE? He just signed a new deal over the AEW. He's got diverticulitis. That injury will roll his deal over even longer. He has a lot of serious injuries that he's already overcome. He's a certain type of wrestler. I would say that about Kenny Omega. He was in WWE developmental many, many years ago. But I would say the brand that he is so much different. And I'm not saying he isn't the right fit for WWE, but if you bring him in, you can't just bring him in and have him do a Ricochet role.
Right.
You can't bring in a Kenny Omega and have him not be AJ Styles. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you'd have to blow out a lot of real estate on television for that. Some people tell me Kenny Omega's an AEW lifer. I would have to think that he is. You're like I don't think that's a big thing. But we thought Dolph Ziggler was an AEW lifer.
True.
Crazier things have happened.
Yeah.
CM Punk's back in WWE. Cody Rhodes went back to WWE.
Yeah, very true.
So I don't know. Do you think he could work in WWE? I know that's a crazy question.
I think they could make it work. I mean, he's such a good wrestler. He's been in the business for so long, but I do see exactly what you're saying. And I think he's a better fit for AEW. And I see him staying in AEW for life. I don't see him coming over to WWE, even though it would be cool to see Kenny Omega match up against some of the guys there, but yeah, I think he's better off fit in AEW just for what he brings to the table.
All right, we're not too far away from that Tony Khan controversy that popped up this past week. I'll jump into a couple more questions. We'll get to all your questions at the end here. I know. So if you post a question, we don't get to it, please don't be afraid to post it again at the end of the segment or the end of the show. Yeah. So we're going to keep going here. If you're just joining us, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and share the comments. We covered a bunch of different things already. If you're hopping in here about Drew McIntyre, about where WrestleMania 41 can go, how the draft has been, we've kind of covered that. All right. So we're gonna get into all these different things here about what is going on. But let's talk about this Tony Khan comment. I goofed around and talked NFL draft with you. AEW Dynasty seemed like a fairly successful show. $400,000 at the gate was the lowest pay-per-view gate for AEW in terms of ticket sales, but still a successful show. One of the best wrestling matches of the year, Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay. Absolutely incredible. If they never did any promos and they just told you were going to get this match on pay-per-view, and this was a one-match pay-per-view, then applaud these guys. This was absolutely incredible. It's a reminder that Bryan Danielson is still one of the best of his generation. It's a reminder that Will Ospreay is a lot of the things he says he is. And these guys delivered, and it looked absolutely brutal. There was ladder matches and other big angles on this and a new world champion, but it was a good show that had some big stuff. Swerve Strickland is a champion, so they're coming off of that. And they have all this hoopla still around them with AEW airing that clip of CM Punk in a scuffle with Jungle Jack Perry. And Jungle Jack Perry runs in to help the Young Bucks at the pay-per-view and get the heel heat on them because they're executive vice presidents and trying to keep the heat on them and stir the pot. And he runs in and helps them win a ladder match to defeat FTR. Shout out to Dax, by the way. He was injured in that match. I hope he's doing well. That looked like it was pretty nasty.
Yeah.
So you have him back there, and they're going to start off Dynamite in Jacksonville, where they have to do, I believe, Collision. Or they had to do Collision there that week so that Tony Khan could stay in Jacksonville. But Tony Khan was going to be staying in bed for a couple days because they ended the show with a main event angle, not a match. Very rare that AEW does this. They usually end with a kind of like a post-match angle where he got in the ring. He got punched in the belly. He got a tummy punch. He got the air knocked out of him. And he fell over like he is someone who has never fallen over before in his life. And he crumbled to the ground like he was a not a house of cards, because cards have grace when they move in the air. And so he tumbled over, and then the Young Bucks hit the ring like they're going to save the day, and they tease doing an EVP trigger to him because they help you up with both your hands. If the Young Bucks ever come up to you and you are in a prone position on the ground, and one of them grabs your hand and the other one grabs the other hand, you are in a very elevated level of danger.
Yes.
But then they reverse this into hitting the Tony Khan driver, no longer called the Meltzer driver. It's a flipping pile driver. And compress the neck of a billionaire. Tony Khan took a pile driver on television, a top rope flippy-do pile driver. I have to do a complete moonsault to grab your ankles and drive you to the ring. This prompted everyone who's on Rampage to come out to the ring, along with Shad Khan.
Yeah.
The billionaire father of Tony Khan.
Yep. Owner of the Jacksonville
Jaguars. I watched this. I'm just, I just follow wrestling. It was outlandish. It was really outlandish. And I want to know what people thought of that. And before we can even finish kind of like putting that into brand people yelling, Khan! Shad or Tony Khan! So Shad Khan, who's never been on AEW television, by the way, made his debut in this segment.
Nice.
And people lost their minds here. Okay?
Yeah.
Because some people saying Tony Khan gets all my money. He spoke the truth. So let's get to the thing he said. So they did that ridiculous segment, which a lot of people had a lot of strong negative opinions about. And some positive. Some people said, like, I there's some wrestling fans I was talking to. There's buddies of mine who are just like, they are all elite, nothing but elite. And they said it was like an outlandish angle, and it was silly, and it was fun wrestling stuff, and they liked it, and it was an angle that certainly got people talking. Didn't translate into a television rating because they were up against some tough competition with playoff basketball, and they did 638 in an overnight television rating. Not great, but I mean, it is what it is. Now, all these different things, you're seeing the TV ratings, all these different things are stirring the pot, trying to get people talking. Okay, I get it. But at what cost? Is this the long-term conversation you're creating or a short-term bump? I'm seeing just short-term bumps. So that's just my observation. What did Tony Khan do when he showed up in the NFL Network during the NFL draft, which is not in the kayfabe,
right?
People pretending to fight political, tribalistic WWE versus AEW world? He showed up in the NFL Network with a neck brace on. What did he say? Do you know what he said?
Oh, I know what he said.
I feel like I'm just talking at you, not with you. I'm sorry.
You're good. I know what he said. They're the Pepsi. They're the Pepsi of the wrestling world. AEW is.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on to say that WWE was the Harvey Weinstein of the wrestling world.
Now I'm drinking a fine Coca-Cola Classic, but that in no way means that I am evil. Okay, so like let me clarify that. The billionaire of this company used time on a mainstream sports network because he's the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, if you don't know the full context of this, he has a reason to be on there. He's talking about this different stuff, and he used the opportunity to put over the NFL put out a press release. NFL team owner attacked in wrestling ring. You know what I mean? Like, it's outlandish. Okay, I can accept some of that stuff. I can accept some of it. Would WWE do something like this? Maybe they would.
Maybe
they would. Maybe, though, if they did it, it would look better and it would like play better, you know? But everyone's making these comparisons to Vince McMahon because then he said that they were the Pepsi. They were the biggest challenger brand in sports since the AFL, which is really crazy in terms of market share and different stuff like this. So he did this crazy segment in the ring. This happens, and he calls him Harvey Weinstein. Now, this is what he's trying to do. What he's trying to do, in your eyes, Nick, is frame and lionize AEW as the good guys.
Yeah.
And say that WWE is the bad guys.
The evil juggernaut.
He called them the evil juggernaut. That's another part of this comment. Do I want to read the whole quote here? I want to get this full context. It's important, right? Full context is important.
True.
And this, I understood some of what he's doing, but he always does this where he adds something that doesn't mean what I think you're trying to say, but it says what you really want to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so the full comment here, NFL Network, he goes, we're up against a really evil juggernaut. WWE is our competitor. That's who we're facing. AEW is like the Pepsi of pro wrestling. WWE is the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling. Now, NBC Sports says in their commentary, that's an obvious reference to the allegations that former WWE owner Vince McMahon, who has left the operation after serious sexual misconduct allegations were made against him. Now, it's worth noting WWE is in that lawsuit. They are referenced as a defendant in it. But I don't understand the Pepsi part.
Right.
And then the Harvey Weinstein part.
Oh.
Like, you're comparing him to a convicted monster of a person. And you're obviously trying to make connections and different stuff like that. And there's going to be other people that say, like, WWE is an evil organization. They're a part of this. They're the evil juggernaut. Like, if you just left it the evil juggernaut thing, it's fine.
Right.
Here's the controversial part. And let me know if you feel this way. And I know people that have investigated these things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And they're very, very serious things. And there's probably more we'll find out. We'll get more clarity on that. But that's a whole other conversation. What does this say about people that are victimized by those actions when they're just a little pawn that I can move around and I can use them as a lightning bolt of a topic to get attention? Like, that's the part that was just like, where's the empathy in this?
Right.
Like, where's the empathy for people that have nothing to do with this, that are in the industry? Nothing, and don't want to be associated with it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's no sympathy at all.
You know, and I'm not denying anything. I'm not saying like those allegations aren't serious, but it was like, is this the forum for you to do that? You know?
No, it's and you could tell that the announcers were very uncomfortable when he
Yes.
started to say that. I mean, and it was not the platform or the time to say anything like that. But
Completely caught them off guard.
yeah. I mean, they thought that it was going to be a fun conversation. They were going to promote AEW, and yes,
And I know before everyone says, "Oh, you're a Sportskeeda guy, you just hate AEW or blah 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 blah. You just want to work for WWE." I've had people tell me that. And I was like, "Come on," and I'm like, "Come on now." And I've been in a room with Tony Khan. I've been in a press conference. I had a one-on-one conversation with him. I'll be clear about that.
yeah,
I think he's a truly good person who's done great things for the pro wrestling industry, and he's changed the industry. And I want AEW to do good because guess what? I work in wrestling media. Nick, you work in wrestling media.
Yeah.
If AEW and WWE are doing well, that's great for me. Oh,
Exactly.
wow. Look at all the people watching the wrestling shows and that are pumped and excited about wrestling. And if you just think about it like, oh, they're so bad. They're so bad. These people suck. Da, 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 da. Like that is just hollow. It goes away really quickly. You see this?
Yeah.
See how I pulled the cup away? I ran.
I'm with you.
All right, let's get into some comics here. You Jack Perry do something with a hug, and Tony Khan will smile. Yes, hugs are weird. Rainer Travis, why doesn't Tony Khan hook up with Vince McMahon? As you know, Ted Turner was. This is an outlandish comment, Rainer. I'm just saying this is an insane comment. Why doesn't Tony Khan hook up with Vince McMahon? As you know, Ted Turner was a partner back in the day with Vince, and Vince is no longer with WWE. So why does it? Tony hook up with someone that has no, that's not going to happen. I never thought. Never thought. So let me ask you there. Do you think Vince McMahon is going to join AEW? What?
No chance in hell.
No chance in hell. There you go. I should have queued it up. It was funny. Tony Khan's comments. If you're that sensitive, don't watch wrestling. Well, this wasn't a wrestling show.
No.
You know what I mean? This wasn't a wrestling show. You know, it's not that I'm sensitive to the comments. I just don't think they should be used it was used for a wrestling angle. You know, like that's you know what I mean? Like there's times when WWE's done stuff like that. I'm like, no. You know, like in terms of like bringing up like a real life topic and like just like wedging, like cramming it in there, you know?
Right.
And that's the way it came off.
Yeah.
I'm not too sensitive about it. I'm a comic. I understand doing jokes and stuff like that, but it makes no sense. It's like edge lordy, simple, like short-term thinking, shallow thinking, right? And I think the thing is, I think he's a smarter guy than this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Definitely.
So that's the other part of it. He's like, dude, you are like weird about Vince. Neither of us know the truth. Very American assuming guilt. I'm not assuming guilt at all, Desmond. I'm not. I'm just saying these are topics I don't think you should just like use to like get yourself up. Oh, they have this. They also, by the way, you want to make these comparisons. you want to make these comparisons. You open yourself up to comparisons. Yeah. All right. And there are comparisons that can and may or may not be made. All right. So I want to make that clear. Like you don't want to open yourself up that. Here we go. It felt a little silly, honestly. It's silly, sure. Silly is an easy way. It's silly for sure. I would say silly is absolutely the way I would describe it. Mm-hmm. Someone saying they should beat Tony's ass. No.
Come on now.
No.
Oh my.
Someone saying, Kevin, you are Dr. Evil. Dr. Evil? Yes. $1 billion. People, Pepsi, the choice of the new generation.
There you go. Maybe that's what he was insinuating.
People talking about all these different things. I'm trying to get here. Another one here from Singh. I'm trying to keep up with all your comments here. That quote just felt more petty than anything. Petty, yes. Petty is another proper way of describing it. Like it feels like someone that was not approved by any guy in PR person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
I would have to agree as well. Six home.
Yeah. I'm not denying like certain things here. Other people saying, people accusing people of crimes and all these different things.
Yeah, it's getting wild in the comments.
Yeah, people getting wild in the comments here, bud. So here's the thing. I don't. People saying no topic is off limits. Anything goes in pro wrestling. This wasn't a pro wrestling interview,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm saying like maybe you would do this on Dynamite,
True.
but then it would just be another cheap ratings ploy.
Yeah.
Tune in to watch Tony Khan say something mean about WWE.
Yeah, I don't think the announcers,
I'm making fart face right now, because
because nobody. I mean, yeah, that's not a selling point.
That's what you're saying. He didn't do that. He was out there representing the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then he wants to talk about his well-funded wrestling show that's also on weekly television.
Yeah,
and he took an opportunity. No one brought up WWE.
Right.
It wasn't like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like at any point did the people interviewing him say, you're in pro wrestling. You're going up against, like, am I wrong? If I'm remembering this wrong, I'm wrong. I have no problem with it.
They didn't bring it up at all.
Like the evil juggernaut line? Sure. You just want to like, hey, here's the playing field. And then some people popped at his comment because they just thought it was ridiculous. And then people are going to claim that
I saw it live, and I was watching the draft.
Yeah? So you were watching the draft, and you're like, oh, Tony Khan's going to be on.
Yeah, and at first I was like, you know what? Hell yeah, Tony. I love the kayfabe. You're up there with your neck brace.
You saw him on there with the neck brace, and you're like,
yeah,
thank you for representing wrestling. You're doing kayfabe right. Okay.
Yeah, and then he comes out and he says that, and like I almost spit my drink out of my mouth. I was like, oh my goodness. So like, you really went there. I can't believe it. And you could tell how uncomfortable the moment was for the guys on ESPN. And I mean, it was.
But do you see the look on his face when he said it?
Yes. It was like, I mean, he was very serious. And I don't think they would have had him on for the interview if they would have known he was going to say that, honestly.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Maybe they would.
True.
Maybe they would.
Ratings.
Yeah. Brandon Klinger. Bobby Heenan would be ashamed of Tony Khan trying to sell that. No, he wouldn't. Tony, I think Bobby Heenan would be a big supporter of it. Oh, man. Yeah. Other people with different takes here. If you're a Jaguars fan, you have to be super pissed. He failed the Jaguars more than he failed AEW. No, he's done plenty for the Jaguars. I can see where you're, not too happy about it. So I don't know. I just think it's not that the things that Vince McMahon are accused of are not evil. And if anyone in WWE and the company itself systematically failed the people that have been victimized, that are alleged to be victimized, I say that for all legal purposes, by the way. I have to. I'm in a public, I'm speaking to you guys publicly about it, I think. Yes, I am public, right?
Yeah.
So I just sell me a wrestling angle, man.
Yeah.
Like it was the height of doing a over the top ridiculous wrestling angle, and then it just got too silly.
Yeah.
Too ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like
too much.
Too much.
Yeah.
Like when you want to make comparisons, make comparison here. When so many ideas. I know this is the ramble part of the show, right? We're rambling.
Hey, we're rambling. That's what this.
There's times when people would say that Vince lost his mind, Vince McMahon, and he would just go off the rails and indulge, and there was no governor. There was no one above him. He was the final say.
Yeah.
He could come in and rip a script. Who's the governor for Tony Khan? Who's the person that comes in and goes like, buddy, come on. You can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, and I assume there's been times when people come in and say stuff like that. But yeah, get to more comments here. What about this one? What do you got? I got to calm down.
You're good. So we got Tony Khan is a genius, hate it or love it. AEW ain't going 6 feet under like WCW. Yeah, I mean, I could see AEW lasting for a while. I mean, the only thing that's bad for them sometimes is their TV ratings. I know that people are, all this, but they're a good wrestling promotion. They're up there. They're a top tier right now. I mean, WWE obviously is the top dog, but AEW is still a great wrestling promotion, and I don't see them going under either.
Great in parts, off in others.
Right.
There's some things they need to improve.
Great talent there is what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And there's some really great storylines, and then storylines are just like, oh, this should be better than it is.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a harsh statement. People give me a rambling red alert. Ring the bell. Kellen's rambling again. Oh, he's going rambling. Let's get ready to ramble. All right. And then other people with different takes here. TK as a clown can't even sell the angle, and it was horrible. He's more angry about a goofy pile driver element.
Yeah.
In the ring. So other people say here. Other people say he's pathetic. He's pathetic. And then Brandon Klinger saying Shah Khan's mustache is all elite.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Hell of a mustache on that man. He's got some real estate on his upper lip. Jay Feliciano, a man who knows a thing or two about pro wrestling, keeping it strong style out there. He says, Shah Khan, does he become an on-screen character? That's another thing. Shah Khan hits the ring in this segment, and he's like really concerned, and he's not saying anything, right? And I can tell you, I've never heard Shad Khan talk, but I mean, the way he expressed himself, he was really concerned for his son.
Yeah,
this was legitimate.
I loved it.
It's worth noting AEW is a completely different business structure. We're talking about people saying, what was the comment here that they need to be destroyed or they're not going anywhere. What was this one here? I want to make sure I get this. This is the one that got us on this ramble here.
Yes.
Tony Khan is a genius. AEW ain't going 6 feet under like WCW. I've heard other people say otherwise, by the way. But one thing that's worth noting is they did get some bad business news. The details were revealed about this, but it was kind of known for a while, but it's much more been highlighted today. SE Scoops reporting from people within the DAZN streaming team, former employees with insight on the situation, say that a 1-year contract that was signed between AEW and DAZN, which is a premium streaming service that offers their weekly television shows in markets across the world where they're not on television. Okay. So it'd be an area where they wouldn't be on TV. Well, you subscribe to DAZN as an internet service and you would get your big pay-per-views, at least 4 pay-per-views, it said, and then you get the weekly TV shows. Some numbers they were happy with in this, but they were not happy in general. And the deal, a multi-year deal that was signed in the beginning of 2023 was discontinued in early 2024. Now, that isn't a massive thing, I guess, objectively, but you have that news, you have this, all right, where you're swinging for the fences with these things, and it's to be debated whether or not they got on base, right? You have this, and then you also have this factoring. Their TV contract is up in the fall of 2024. And we don't know where they're going to be. But there's some shakeup here. Okay. You follow the sports ball.
Yes.
Looks like Warner Brothers Discovery, AEW's current TV partner, is going to be out of the basketball business. They're not going to be having NBA games. That's the latest word. And that NBA, which is a huge rights and a huge part of the real estate that they currently have in terms of broadcasting sports and how the landscape changes so much. And that certainly affects AEW. They get bumped by football and hockey games, NHL games all the time.
Yeah.
What do you think here? If you're Warner Brothers Discovery and you see this stuff,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So maybe I should backtrack on my comment. Maybe they will be going down, but it's.
I don't think they're going to be going down.
No, they're not going down. They're not going down. But
because they're privately funded.
Yeah,
how much money do we want to spend on this? That's
true.
They're not answering to. They're not a publicly traded company like WWE is.
Right.
So,
very true. Very true. But it's very
Jose Gonzalez asked me this. Jose G, what's up? Jose G, broski, how are you? I just touched on this. So he dropped AEW for pay-per-views and different stuff like that. I think it's maybe just a sign of what AEW does internationally and in some international markets. Like they have a strong TV presence in Europe.
Yeah.
I think they should be in Europe more. It's not cheap to bring this roster to Europe, though. You're going to have to pay for travel and different things like that, and you're still a startup company. It's not cheap when WWE goes there either.
No.
But you have different costs you incur by going overseas. Do you have the same crew? Do you have the same crew for the ring? Do you have the same, like they're going to be doing this big show and All In, big stadium show. They've sold some good tickets for it. Are they going to sell as many as they did last time? That's to be debated. Are they going to do 81,000 tickets like they claim they did? I don't know. Like that's up in the air. Will they do really well? Yeah. They're going to, they've already sold 41,000 tickets. That's not bad. No. 41,000 tickets is not bad. Is it bigger than what you did before? No, it's not. So, you keep saying you're this challenger brand, but then you have these other things. Certainly they are. They're the number 2 company in the world quickly because they're well-financed and marketed to get enough of that diehard wrestling audience. But if I'm just like a dad who has a son who likes wrestling, what am I choosing? What am I choosing?
You want me to say it?
Yeah. What are you choosing?
I'm choosing. I don't know. I know what I'm choosing, but
what are you choosing? What are you choosing, Nick?
If I'm a dad,
WWE.
You're
a bot. You're a WWE bot. You're an E-drone. You're one of those E-drones. You're an E-drone. How does it feel to be an E-drone? I heard someone else in this conversation on Twitter say E-drone. So you're an E-drone. I'm saying E-drone like I'm the first person that said E-drone. Do you know this one time I came up with this phrase called E-drone?
Well, no, I know.
Everybody gets it. Everybody gets it.
All right, I'll say this.
You're a bot. You're a bot. That's what you are. You're a bot. You're a do the robot dance. Dance for them, robot.
I can't get my arm up high enough.
No, he's got full robot. He's got the squeaky elbow. Yeah, we're getting ridiculous here. So other people saying these just ridiculous things here. Is Nick me? Before we get out of here, I wanted to get you guys to listen to this idea. I always love the media stuff. I always like talking about the media deals.
Yeah.
I was going to do this before we get out. People think, what is WWE? We got asked this question earlier. What is WWE doing with Raw? Because Raw is going to have their TV deal up in October. All right.
Yeah.
So they'll be done in October and they don't go to Netflix until January. What are you doing those 2 months then? And I got a wild idea for what they do. A wild idea.
What's the idea?
Don't know if it's a great idea. I got a wild one.
Okay. We got some wild comments going today. So
what do you think? What would you do?
Honestly, I'm stumped on this.
Does Raw go away for 2 months of the year? No.
It can't.
No. Can't. Got an idea. I think likely they stay on USA Network. Okay.
They're good.
They stay there.
Like for the 2 months or for good?
For the 2 months.
Okay.
That's what I think is going to happen. I've talked to no one about this. I have no inside sources. If this happens, everyone has to buy me a Coca-Cola. Not a Pepsi, a Coca-Cola. Everyone.
A
glass
right
Coke. A Mexican Coca-Cola with real sugar.
The best.
You don't want that type of Coke. Coca-Cola. Not the one that's going to give you a heart attack. Maybe the one that's going to give you some diabetes.
Yeah.
Here's my idea. If WWE wanted to prove how powerful they are as a sports media entity, they would stream the show for free on any type of video platform for 2 months and have astronomically big numbers. And they would do it for free for the audience that's following them only on YouTube. There is a massive audience worldwide, and it's in specific demographics. You think they're not cable subscribers. Small example. I have a nephew. He's in high school, right? Only watches WWE on YouTube. It's the only way he watches it. Why would I watch it on anything else? I got YouTube on my phone. I can watch it right when I get out of school. If I want to check in and see what's happening, I'm not going to follow the stories. I'm just going to keep up with some things, and then I'll pull up WrestleMania and I'll watch 4 hours of WrestleMania, but I'll watch little clippies of it like this throughout the week.
Yeah.
YouTube. Monday Night Raw, special residency. And if you love us and you already have YouTube for free, well, guess what? We're going to Netflix and you're going to get more. Don't you love watching this live? Well, you're going to get more when we go there. Now, I don't think for sure they're going to go to YouTube. I think they stay on television.
Okay.
Or maybe they can't jump to YouTube early, right? Because you got to get those subscribers moving over there, right? You got to get people moving over there. I don't know. They're going to do something. The show's going to stay on the air, but I don't know if they're going to do the crazy thing I just said they would do. But that would be a crazy thing to do. Or if they moved like every week, they're in a different streaming thing.
Yeah, that'd be. You got to keep up with us.
This week, Monday Night Raw goes to MySpace. Just like a different app every week. That'd be ridiculous. They're not doing that, by the way. But I mean, if you were a streaming platform and you just want to do like, hey, here's a one-off, the crazy thing is if they went to network television for a couple months, but I don't think they're going to do that too. They like. If they went to, hey, I just think it stays on USA Network. They figure out a deal. Right. The weird thing is they haven't said anything. It's the same thing about the WrestleMania thing. They haven't said anything. This is the new ownership. They're really playing it a different way. I don't know. What would you do?
I mean, that's a good idea. I like that. I would definitely have it on a streaming service of some sort. Maybe Peacock. Maybe try to do something live.
Peacock would be great. They already have Peacock. They already have infrastructure.
Right.
Hey, we know we're going to leave Peacock. Hey, here's a goodwill. Here's a goodwill thing to do for the people saying they already have 1 billion subscribers worldwide. It's true. And then there'll be some people saying only 50,000 people are watching it concurrently on YouTube. So it just shows the real ratings. Come on, everyone's gonna get into the numbers like they know the numbers. I'm not even saying I know the numbers. I'm just being objective about it. Yes, Raw said it a couple months ago. Hey guys, Raw was staying on TV. Did you guys talk about Nick Khan? Yes.
Oh, yeah,
WWE should buy 2 months by the time and have a great send off. Thank USA fans for all the years. Happy endings. Oh, see, it's Jay Feliciano. I agree. They've been on Monday Night Raw has been on USA Network since 1993. Now, mind you, you're still gonna have wrestling on there. Smackdown's gonna go back to. They were in USA before, weren't they? They were in USA.
I believe so a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you're still gonna have wrestling. So my thing is does it stay on Mondays? It's got to stay on Mondays, right? It has to stay on
It has to. I mean, Monday Night Raw, you got it
has to stay on Mondays. You're still going to be up against football and stuff like that, though, too.
True.
But also, it's the 24-hour window. You know what I mean? I could pull up Netflix and just watch this stuff whenever I want. So what's the difference? People saying great idea. I think them on YouTube would be a fantastic idea.
Yeah,
just to hey, here's 2 months. They already have a ton of viewers. It's the 24-hour window. If I'm not watching it live, I'm watching it later. Here's 2 months of Monday Night Raw for free. And by the way, we're going over to Netflix. You sampled us for free on this one. Here's all the other stuff you get. But then they still have to keep the feed going on YouTube. The feeds, man. We got to maintain the feeds. All right, I've rambled. We've done a lot of rambling on the show. This is the most ramble-heavy show we've ever done, right? I really went for it.
I like it.
What are you up to, buddy? Where can they follow you in the things? You just dropped some bits of content. We got your voice on a bunch of different videos now, bud.
Yeah, I'm all over the place now. But you can find me on Twitter, or X is what they call it now, at not N Harkson. I'm telling you my old one. It's Nick_Harkson, and that's also the same on Instagram. That's NICK_HARKSEN.
You can follow me on the Twitter machine. X, gonna give it to you. And I'm there at Kev Kellum on the Instagram, KEVKELLAM6. Okay, quite busy with that. This Thursday, Roast Battle Chicago in Zanies. We are going to be. I can hold that card up right there. All right, we are going to be at all that cool stuff. Roast Battle Chicago at Zanies this Thursday. You can get your tickets, roastbattlechicago.com. And a whole bunch of different stuff coming out. We just dropped a bunch of videos on the channel. I want to make sure I get the videos correctly. So you guys can go check out these little goodies that we just dropped for you before I better head out. I know I have to work on a script about Randy Orton and his career, doing a retrospective on Randy. I did last Monday at Raw. I worked with one Mr. Vince Russo, bro. Had to do that. That's up on WrestleBitch. But right now you can hear me and Nick on these videos. Why being a heel was the best version of The Rock. How AEW failed Chris Jericho's Appreciation Society. And why Becky Lynch winning the Women's Championship was the wrong decision. So somebody had issues about that. But we dig into all those. Those videos are up right now on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel, where some of you may or may not be watching us currently. I'm going to drop the link for that right now in the comments, and you guys can go watch those right now. Thank you guys for doing this and all the different things and supporting us here and just following us through all the different ups and downs of things in WWE. So sound off. Let us know. People saying the move to YouTube is brilliant considering they have over 1 million subscribers. I agree. You know,
yeah,
I think
it's a good idea.
Put the show up there for free for 2 months and then say, hey, did you enjoy this for free? Go over Netflix.
Yeah.
You know, and also make those shows great. Do something really, really big on those shows. Make them special shows. All right, man. I'll talk to you, bud. I'll talk to you. We'll have a good one. Follow Nick on the things. Follow me on the things. Remember, when watching wrestling, please do the most important thing, which is what?
Enjoy wrestling.